Hello, 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 dear friends. It is I, Fall for the Great 64, and as you can see, I'm rocking my old school Fall for the Great hat today, because we have something very special to showcase. This is something that I've wanted to be able to do for a long time, and last July, I finally decided, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna write a formal letter to Nintendo and see if I get a response. And well, today I got a response. But before we get into that, first I'm going to show the letter that I wrote to Nintendo and mailed to them back on July 23rd, I believe. In this letter, I just expressed how much I'm a longtime Mario fan and how I love the Mario RPGs in particular, and just my thoughts on how things have developed in recent years and the fact that there was a new remake of Super Mario RPG announced, and just my hopes for the future of Mario RPGs, stuff like that. I did express that I was disappointed with modern Paper Mario and all that, but I did also try to express it in a kind of a civil, kind of respectful way, like constructive criticism rather than just blind rage. So, I'm gonna read that. Here we go. So, my letter that I wrote to Nintendo reads, Dear Nintendo, I've been a longtime Mario fan since the early 2000s. I've been playing Mario games ever since playing Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2 on the Game Boy Advance at around 7 years old. One series that quickly became my favorite was the Mario RPGs. I'm not usually into the RPG genre, but the Mario RPGs are different. I began with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on the GameCube, and very quickly Paper Mario became the subject of my obsession. I loved the colorful cast of characters not seen in other Mario games, the more detailed and often darker stories, basically all the world building and lore it contributed to the Mario universe. I also soon after became obsessed with the Mario and Luigi games as well, with Fawful becoming one of my favorite characters. After the release of Super Paper Mario on the Wii, however, I feel like Mario RPGs slowly began losing the elements that made them so special. Mario and Luigi was still putting out bangers, such as Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and later Dream Team, both of which I adore, especially the former. But Paper Mario was changed almost beyond recognition as it shifted from telling epic Mario stories full of unique and organic characters to being focused on paper as the selling point and using a mostly vanilla character cast. With Mario and Luigi, I was also very disappointed in Paper Jam, which, despite billing itself as a combination of these two series I love, seemed to reject the rich character casts that defined them to me and so many longtime fans, and once again stick to only the basic Mario cast and plot, using the one disappointing Paper Mario game at the time, Sticker Star, as the sole basis for everything Paper Mario related. I definitely feel like the mid-2010s was one of the weakest periods for Mario in general, but hope was revitalized in 2017 with the release of the Switch, with the fantastic Super Mario Odyssey breathing new life into the mainline Mario games, and a remake of one of the greatest Mario RPGs, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Despite being on the 3DS, which was a major turnoff to a lot of people, sadly, I bought both physical and digital copies of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions, and later Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey. I was so happy my two favorite Mario & Luigi games were being brought back with a fresh coat of paint. Then, later, in October of 2019, my heart was crushed to learn that Alpha Dream, the studio behind the Mario and Luigi games, filed for bankruptcy, hurling the beloved RPG series into a bleak future. In 2020, Paper Mario: The Origami King was announced. With Paper Mario in the state it was, I was initially hyped to see that it finally had an original villain again, something that the two previous entries had convinced me was no longer allowed for the series. When the game came out, I enjoyed it well enough. It was a good game. It had some good ideas. But after the dust had settled, I still didn't consider it the return to form I'd so desperately hoped for. It was clear there were still restrictions on what could be done with the characters, and most of the original characters were paper-themed rather than organic characters in the vein of Lord Crump, Vivian, Count Black, etc. I still miss the original enemies like Koopa Trolls and Kleps, I missed Kammy Koopa and the Merlin clan. I still felt like a lot was missing. The future of Mario RPGs once again was as uncertain as ever. But you mad lads managed to surprise me in the recent Nintendo Direct with the announcement of a full HD remake of Super Mario RPG for the SNES, the game that started it all, and incidentally one of the only ones I haven't beaten. I'm absolutely looking forward to experiencing the full story of this game for the first time via this amazing remake, but it's also part of why I'm writing. You can probably tell the Mario RPGs mean a lot to me. When I came out as trans, I named my middle name after a beloved Paper Mario character who is trans in the Japanese release, and who I'd love so much to be reunited with Mario after all these years. This obsession has spanned decades at this point, so I'd like to express how much I want this Super Mario RPG remake to not be a fluke, for it to be the start of a special new era for Mario RPGs, for Paper Mario to be like it was before Sticker Star's shift in identity, for Mario and Luigi to return. Maybe even an official Super Mario RPG 2 following up this remake, and yes, I'm obsessed enough to know the original Paper Mario began development as Super Mario RPG 2. But one thing I'd love to happen in particular is for characters original to the Mario RPGs to be used in other games. I've wanted Fawful in Mario Kart ever since the days of Mario Kart 7. It would be nice to see some old Paper Mario characters realized in 3D again, like they did a few times in the 2000s with Goomba/Goomba King in Super Mario 64 DS, and the Star Spirits in Mario Party 5. Why not let, say, the Bean Bean Kingdom be an explorable location in a 3D Mario game, or have a Mario Party board set in Rogueport? These games have an absurd amount of material to use, and I feel sad that it has barely been touched. Mario Kart Tour may be the perfect place to start, since it's constantly adding new content. Oh, and since I haven't mentioned it much, Super Paper Mario is my favorite game of all time, for its story and characters, especially the villains, and how ultimate and dire of an adventure it was. Those characters may be harder to adapt to other Mario games thanks to their heavy stylization, but I would certainly not be complaining. I understand the person reading this letter is probably not someone who has any control over this, but feel free to pass this on to any relevant parties. This series means a lot to me, and I'm excited to see what's next. Sincerely, Jamie Vivian Wadlington, Mario RPG Superfan. And then I attached a digital drawing I made with a thank you message with Fawful, Dimentio, and Tippy, and also a pure heart in the background. Just kind of showing some of my favorite characters and scenarios, representing my favorite games in the series. And yeah, I put a lot of thought and care into the wording of this letter and making it seem as professional as possible. And that was back on July 23rd when I mailed this out, I'm pretty sure. Lo and behold, on September 6th, 2023, I received a response. Dear Jamie, thank you for taking the time to write to us here at Nintendo. Due to high volumes, we haven't been able to respond to you in a timely manner. I apologize for the delay in our response. In your letter, you wrote about your enthusiasm for the Mario RPGs. I absolutely understand your passion for these games. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door and Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga were my introduction to Mario's turn-based adventures, and I spent countless hours playing them and their sequels. You also wrote about your disappointment with later entries in the series, particularly in the Paper Mario games. I'm sorry to hear that you were unhappy with these more recent titles, losing some of the identity and creativity you came to love in the original games. When any of our games fall short of your expectations, we want to know. I'm happy to document your concerns and hopes for the future. That way, your comments can be made available for the relevant departments here at Nintendo for us to review and thoughtfully consider. The honest opinions of our fans mean a great deal to us, as it helps us determine what the future of beloved series should be. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts, Jamie. As a token of our thanks for your letter, as well as your fantastic artwork, a small item has been enclosed with this response. We hope you have fun playing the upcoming Super Mario RPG remake and continue to enjoy our games for years to come. Sincerely, Nintendo of America Inc., Robert Marcellisi, Customer Service Representative. Enclosed is a Nintendo promotional item. And that item right here is these bookmarks. This one has Mario and Luigi. This one has a Yoshi and a Cretin. But yeah, it's surreal to have a real human response from Nintendo after so many years. When I was younger, I used to email them with their web form that they used to have available, and sometimes I would get a human response, but it's been a long time since I've been able to email Nintendo and actually get a human response, and physical letters do feel a little bit more personal than emails. So I genuinely feel satisfied because it feels like someone at Nintendo can hear me. And that's something, oftentimes posting about Nintendo on social media and stuff, even though they have in their bio, we're listening to, sometimes it feels like they don't hear me. And a lot of people also, like, get on my ass about beating a dead horse, as it were, about certain things, even though I only do that because I know by Nintendo's own claims they are listening, and it's something that's important to me. But this letter, I saw another YouTuber who wrote a letter to Nintendo recently, and that's what inspired me to write this letter, and I got my response today. So that is my response from Nintendo on a letter I wrote to them about how passionate I am for the Mario series and my love for the Mario RPGs. I did include a few drawings in my letter, which I will be displaying on screen right here. But anyway, that's it for this little video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you on the flip side. Is it a cease and desist?